Hello everybody and welcome to the final episode of Murder on the Marine Express. Today we will figure out who the killer is. My guess is still either Lena or Haifa. Chapter 5. Veronica has solved the case. It's time to learn the truth on the submarine train. Here's your juice. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. It's made from oysters and shellfishes. Yuck. Actually, where are you from, Spike Johnson? We don't know. Okay. I can make you British then. Just joking, of course. Right. I would have liked to know that before spitting the thing. I beg your pardon. Never mind. I'll let this one pass because you are absolutely right. In the end, everything was reduced to discarding the things that were impossible and keeping those that remain. That was a very valuable piece of advice. I'm glad that helped you. There's much knowledge in literature. He's gonna be mad. Well, it looks like everybody's here already. I'll leave you then. Good luck with your closing statement. Spike's just here. He just wants to see the denouement. Yeah, we'll need it. Anything you need, please let me know. Thank you. Greetings! These are the last messages you will receive. Oh. So we want to take this chance to thank you for reading Murder on the Marine Express. Did you find the answer to this mystery? Along the trip, 3 persons were assaulted with no clear motive connecting the incidents. The possibility of a serial murderer was presented, but according to the train staff, only those from St. Joachim could get onto the Marine Express. Then maybe Christine tried to take revenge for teacher, or maybe it was Katya, who was also a recent victim of Shepard. But then again, why did they kill Miss Marble in an attempt to take Irene's life? Could it be that the murderer is some other unrelated person like Mrs. Queen, who was hiding all this time? The solution to all the mysteries aboard the Marine Express is about to begin. We encourage you to collect your thoughts before proceeding to the final answer. That being said, we bid our farewell. Thank you again for reading our novel. We hope to see you in our next ones. This isn't this is a video game, but okay, it's a visual novel. But okay. You ready? I'm a little anxious, but I'm ready. We're going to solve the case before the train arrives to land. Right. It's time to close the curtain. Let's go. Hi. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Okay. First things first, I want to thank Mr. Brown for letting us organize this meeting despite the circumstances. We are really grateful for your decision on trusting us. I hope whatever you're going to explain justifies this exception. Yes, it will. To those present, I'd like to clarify I'm not a big fan of these kind of detective stagings. Sure you're not, Ronco. Where all suspects are gathered and the culprit is pointed out after a long and tiresome explanation. Me and Astrid spent all the trip investigating what happened on this train. And we think you have the right to know our findings. If you're here because it's you... If you're here because you are or were related with the case at some point, it's fair that you learn the truth too. The rest of the students will be informed in due time. Thank you for your courtesy. Alright. Now that we're finished with the introductions, let's start with the main event. First, a message of reassurance. There will be no more deaths nor aggressions. The danger's over. Yeah? And how do you know that? We were never in danger, actually. Since Mr. Shepard's death, the following events were done with some very specific targets in mind, so none of the remaining people aboard were in danger of becoming a new victim of the mysterious assaulter. You mean these killings were not made at random then? Not in the slightest. The culprit was very clear about who their targets were. I don't get it. Then what's the reason linking all 3 of the victims? That's what we're about to explain right now. The tragic development we could have averted for sure through... A tragic development we could have averted for sure, though some elements prevented so. Looking at the way things unfolded, I must admit there's no way we can fully know how everything happened. So what we're going to present is this... is the surmise which best fits the data we managed to gather. We ask you to hear until the end, okay? Please, go ahead. Let's start with the story, then. I think the best way to understand this case is going over it in reverse order. So let's take Miss Marble's death as a starting point. As you probably know, Astrid and me were the last ones that saw her alive. And those who found her body, too. So we have a very solid understanding about the time frame where the murder took place. Just 10 minutes since we left her until we came back. Putting aside the fact that this is a very narrow margin for daring to kill someone, we made sure that the crime was an impossible one, since there was a witness in the corridor all along. Is that so, Haifa? Absolutely. Nobody went in or out after you two. We found Haifa on the other side of the corridor, and she was still there when we returned. Even though she was a little far, it's clear that she would take notice. Someone else got in to kill Miss Marble. Maybe she's the one who did it, and she's tricking you! No, she didn't. Haifa had no reason and no chance to carry out the rest of the assaults. So it's not Haifa. Okay, I'm suspecting Lena then. So she's out from the list of suspects. We can believe in her word. Hold your horses, little mouse. If you're saying no one got in to murder Miss Marble, then who on earth is the one who killed her? Are you implying they were already inside when you left? Well, that's pretty close to the actual answer. I'm sure you'll understand right away if you give it a quick thought. But then, are you saying that? I'm afraid that's exactly it. The answer is pretty simple. If nobody aside from us went in or out of the room, and we are obviously not the culprits, then the only option left is that she took her life herself. It was a suicide. That's a very stupid way to commit suicide, stabbing yourself in the chest. Goddamn. Whoa. That's awful. Poor Miss Marble. Sad incident indeed. She took the very same knife used to kill Mr. Shepard and took her own life, putting an end to the awful string of crimes on this train. That leaves us with a very pertinent question. Why'd she do that? Right, Marble wouldn't do something like that for no reason. In this case, the reason was a weighty one and had to do directly with the previous assault. Now, let's look over the events of our friend Irene. As you may know, the murderer tried to kill her with a treacherous blow to the head, though they fortunately couldn't. Just by inches. She's in very grave condition. Nurse Joyce told us that the prognosis is quite discouraging. We'll have to reach land to know if she has any chance to live. Don't cry, Erica. What's with her? She happens to be more human than you lot. But let's not go off on a tangent now. You could have spared that remark. The assault on Irene was specifically perplexing because it took place in the public restroom. And at night, no less. That was undoubtedly a very odd setting that left us with many questions. Did she stumble upon the killer just by chance? Did she agree to meet them there? Which was the weapon used? Which weapon was used? The only thing we know is that her body was left there for hours until Astrid found her that morning. Are you sure you're not the culprits? You always seem to be in the eye of the storm. Yeah, we got that a lot these last few days. He became sort of a mystery magnet against our will. I would avoid it if I could, but it doesn't look like a very healthy habit. Anyway, as I was saying, this turned into a sea of doubts which didn't look easy to understand. So we had to think long and hard to clear out the mystery. But we did in the end, right? Yeah. It was all about pulling the thread to gradually comb the Hank out. The Hank? Okay. Let's think about the weapon, for instance. They used a knife for the other two murders, but this assault was carried out with a blunt object. Taking into account that, most probably, this wasn't a planned attack, is there anything on this train that can be used as a weapon? Not many options, I guess. No, there's a lot of options, but okay. My shurikens are out of the list. They are made of cardboard. I know! The face in our rooms! We just need to find who's missing theirs. Nope, sorry. It's true that the face could be used to hit Irene, but then it would have broken and we would find the shards. Also, we could have identified the culprit right away if some face was missing in any room. Oh, I missed a shot. Don't lose heart. You also took a lot to guess the right answer. And the answer is one of the fire extinguishers on the corridor. Huh? It's an object built enough to cause a deep injury. And the ones here are small enough and can be easily handled. We checked all the ones aboard. Found one with a small dent and some stains of blood. While the killer tried to erase any trace of the crime, they didn't manage to do it as thoroughly as they believed. But then, we can't know who did it. On the contrary, we know pretty well. The identity of the murder was clear once we answered one of the pending questions. What was Irene doing there in the middle of the night? I know most of you thought she was the one behind Mr. Shepard's death back then, but since that wasn't the case, it would have been very reckless for her to go out of her room that late at night. At least, I can't fathom why she would expose herself to danger without a weighty reason. Therefore, she didn't go to the restroom of her own accord, but because somebody urged her to show up at that place. The killer? Exactly. Now, think a bit about this. With a murder happening just some hours before, would you come out of your room to meet with someone summoning you on some isolated place? Fat chance. I'd tell them we could talk in the morning. Maybe if that person was someone I trust? Exactly. That's the key here. Caution would make us avoid those kind of shady meetings. But if that were a trusted person, then things change. It could be a friend in need of advice, or maybe someone instilled in safety, like some teacher. No, that can't be right. Are you saying that? Yes. The one who summoned Irene on the restroom to kill her was the very same one who committed the previous murder. That's Miss Marble. Why? That's impossible. She never... It is possible. It's exactly the reason why she killed herself. Drowning in guilt for having assaulted an innocent student. Of course we have evidence of this. Just before coming here, we visited the sick room to look for Irene's phone. And that confirmed that Miss Marble sent her a message. We've given instructions on meeting with her to talk about a very urgent matter related to Shepard's murder. I can't believe my ears. Me neither. I find Marble harming someone unthinkable. That's a red card. Why would you do something like that? Yeah, that's the unsolved mystery which has been gnawing at me all this time. Motive is what moves action. What gives meaning to this absurd tragedy we lived inside this train. The motive why Jessica Marble is dead and the one Irene Baker was... Hold on. Huh? Hi, sorry, I'm back. My dad made me put away the groceries that I came home with, except he didn't put the groceries in bags. It's very annoying. But yeah, we're good. We're back. The motive why Jessica Marble is dead and the one why Irene Baker was critically hurt. That motive? A secret concerning several people. It's closely related to the last question we now must face at last. The mystery which answer will finally reveal the whole truth. The question that began it all. Why did Lawrence Shepard die? So far, we talked about how Miss Marble's death and Irene's assault took place. However, it's time to tackle the main point, which was the source and the trigger of this whole mess. The day before yesterday, just after lunch, somebody got in Mr. Shepard's room and stabbed him. Later, Clarice Rosalini, who is right here, found the body when she arrived at the place with the aim of discussing some academic matters, which don't matter right now. The important thing is that during this period, since Shepard left the dining card until we found his body, there aren't many clues to work with. And they even seem to lead to Irene initially, which is obviously wrong now. On one hand, we have the murder weapon. On one hand, we have the weapon, the very same knife that... Oh, yeah, murder weapon. On one hand, we have the murder weapon, with the very same knife that Miss Marble used to take her own life yesterday. This knife, as we checked already, belongs to the trained cutlery, and anyone could have kept theirs after lunch. So there's nothing that can help us find in its owner. However, the fact that the killer used this knife and not another weapon leads us to think that, just like what happened with Irene, this was not a premeditated murder. This takes us back to the main question, serving as the unifying thread for all the case. If this was not a planned murder, why did the culprit feel the urge to kill a teacher so well respected by his students and co-workers? A role model in the academy so everybody loved so much. Well, most of you already know about this, but I'll state it anyway. Lawrence Shepard was a predator who harassed and abused some of the students of St. Joachim, and also at other schools. His death was punishment for his deeds. Really? Calling me impressed? That's men for you. There's no way to trust them. That's kind of rich coming from you.
Well, not all of us are like that.
Not all of you, but all of women have to live with that same fear. Please, Mr. Brown, spare us the classic #NotAllMen speech. When we're telling you that your fellow teacher harassed young girls with impunity for years, girls who had to suffer in silence, sorry if your ego took any offense on this, but please understand that the topic here is a very different one.
Yeah, of course. I understand. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Won't happen again.
Okay, he didn't... Marco, I would like to point out, he didn't say not all men because he likes what's-his-face, Shepard, or was defending him or anything. He said not all men in response to the girl, Erica, saying, "Oh, of course, a man would do that," after Erica spread rumors about, Irene having an affair with him. You know, like, I think one of these people is worse. That out of Frank and Erica, one of them is worse. One of them, objectively, has done more damage. And is, like... You may think this is quite a serious accusation for a teacher from an elite preparatory school. Even so, I guarantee that on this very train are some of Mr. Shepard's victims. I could confirm firsthand how true this claim is. Although I'm not going to reveal their names out of respect for their privacy. I have nothing to hide. I was one of Shepard's victims, and I want that everybody learns how he really was. He tried to assault me, and once I defied him, he spread some really nasty rumors about me to ruin my life. And he did. Were it not for Maddie's support, there's no way I could bear the humiliation I had suffered all this time. You're a strong girl. You just needed a little help. Thanks for being so brave, Christine. I was a victim of Mr. Shepard too. Katya. It all began with some casual meetings, but then he followed me everywhere. It soon became really uneasy. I tried to avoid him, but he always found a way to be alone with me. He made me his pet and told me that he would make my life a living hell if I resisted. Katya, I'm so sorry. Forgive me for not being aware of what you were living through. I'm sorry too. You had no idea. We should have helped you. Thanks. That was not your fault. It's nobody's fault, actually. Except for the one doing those things. As you see, Mr. Brown, Mr. Shepard was occupied with this kind of extracurricular activities for so long.
But I don't understand. If he was doing these awful things, why didn't you report to our principal?
Didn't you hear? Shepard has a lot of power at the academy. His stand-in would cast doubts on any accusation against him. Okay, counterpoint. If multiple people accuse him, that casts doubt on him. Well, he would have it so easy to wreck the life of his students if they tried to spill the beans. And I get why they wouldn't want to, but like, if a bunch of people all claim the same thing about you, that you did something to them, it's chances are that that's the truth, unless you're like really famous and it's the random people accusing you. Then that would have some scrutiny. But Shepard isn't really famous, and the people who would be accusing him aren't random people, it's his students. By random people, I mean, like, general members of the public that, like, wouldn't... that they don't actually know. I don't know. It's just complete strangers. But these aren't complete strangers. And he's not famous, so yeah. Oh, I'm talking on my ass. But yeah, I still get why they wouldn't want to accuse him alone. Most of them probably didn't even realize there were other people. Most of them. Katia did. And Christine did, but I think most of them didn't realize there were others. Well, he would have it. Oh, yes. But these types of matters are never that easy to deal with anyway. Even when no means no, the defendant is always given more credibility than the victim after the facts. That's the sad reality for many people.
Gosh, I'm sorry you had to go through that sort of horrible experience.
The thing is, this is a very reasonable motive to explain why Shepard was murdered. Wouldn't it be absurd, not in the slightest, to think that one of his victims decided to take the law into her own hands, took revenge in the most gruesome way. In that case, the list of suspects shortens quite a bit. But it wasn't me! Are you for real? I told you that. Please, let me finish my statement. The list is certainly shorter now, but it's not complete. It's true that both of you in particular fit very well into the role of the killer, but I know full well that you have nothing to do with the murder. However, Christine provided a valuable piece of data to understand the chain of events. During the first steps of our research, she told us that a first year went to Shepard's room just before he was found dead. Christine couldn't identify the girl, but her red jacket exposed her as a freshman. At the time, all of the clues seemed to lead to the same answer, that the girl was Irene Baker. But there's no way it was her. Irene stayed in our room. She didn't get to visit Teacher's room. That's what she said. Yet there's no witness that can prove that. Actually, I find it hard to think of any other option besides Irene. All evidence points towards her as the girl Christine saw. And I'll say more. Christine's not the only one who did. Huh? Shepard made an appointment to meet Irene in this room, with the excuse of talking about some of the activities the class was going to make during and after the trip. Though I'm pretty sure his plan was to assault her once they were alone. He absolutely didn't expect that they would get a surprise guest. Just as he jumped into action, somebody went into the cabin. The killer. Of course, the scene was absolutely awkward and hard to explain. The killer let Irene go and they stayed with Shepard alone. You know how that ended. Some minutes after leaving, Clarice found the body and the chaos began spreading inside the train. And now that I have explained almost all the facts, I suppose there's no need to reveal who this mysterious person I was talking about is. It's Miss Marple, right? I'm afraid so. What? Huh? No? No. 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 She tried to kill Irene because she thought Shepard was killed by Irene, and then she murdered herself. She committed suicide. What the okay, Jessica Marble is the one who murdered Lawrence Shepard. Such a sad story. I could have never imagined that things went like that. As a matter of fact, it's even worse. At that time, Miss Marble didn't know that her workmate was a real degenerate. When she came in, she understood the scene the other way around. That is, that Irene was the one jumping over Shepard. Just like several of the students of St. Joachim, she believed the rumor that Irene was in love with him. And the situation was baffling enough to make her think to give that some credibility. Therefore, when Miss Marble threw her out of the room, it wasn't to protect her, but to get her away from him. And then, when they were alone, she killed him out of jealousy, out of spite. No, okay, this is bullshit. I don't like this. She was in love with Shepard and thought that he betrayed that love. No! She was a somewhat reasonable person. Like, yeah, trying to kill Irene was... No, this makes trying to... Okay. So she thought that if you couldn't be hers, then he would be nobody's. But that makes no sense. If she took her anger out on teacher, then why did she attack Baker? And why didn't Baker say anything about that? Everything happened so fast. It's possible that Irene was still trying to take in what she faced in there, and had to think carefully about how to explain it. Hers was a thorny position, certainly. Irene was one of the last people who saw Shepard alive, and she also had a reason to kill him. So anybody would think that she was the culprit. Well, no need to say that's exactly what happened. On the other hand, it may be that even knowing that Miss Marble was the murderer, Irene felt a strong contradiction before the fact that she was also the one who saved her and therefore owed her silence. It's clear that this trust was not mutual, however. Miss Marble was still bitter with her for what she saw. Feeling boosted by the need of getting rid of an annoying witness that could give her away at any minute. That's why she sent that message to her phone, to meet with Irene and talk about how they would confront the situation. But Marble decided already. Irene entailed a grave danger to her, and she had no intention of forgiving what she did to Shepard. So Marble was determined to kill her too. Now you know the whole story. That what began as mysterious death became fear of the second victim, the possibility of a serial murderer with a third. But in the end, nothing was at random. There is a reason linking all three of these cases. Miss Marble wanted to redeem herself, paying with her own life. Now that the circle is closed, there won't be any more tragedies. Jessica? I don't like that. I don't like that. What was the thing that you found? What was the thing that you found? Okay. In the jacket, was it her phone? Did they find Irene's phone in that jacket? Was that it? I don't fucking know. Thank you for gathering us to explain the facts. Just as you said, this was a tragic episode, but it's all over now. I hope things come back to normal when we arrive to land. Truly a clarifying talk. Good job, Togawa. You can you can get back to your rooms. I'll reach the rest of the girls to report that everything is okay now. Just one more thing. You may have forgotten by now, but before starting my speech, I told you that we can't completely know how things truly unfolded. What I explained right now was the most plausible theory, but we have with us one last piece of evidence that we shall inspect in detail. It's something that was found in Mr. Shepard's cabin. We want to discuss its meaning with Mr. Brown, so we're going to talk with him a little more. We'll keep this evidence safe in our room. That's all. This is all I had to say. It was a painful event, but we can be back to normal now. Let's pray so that Irene can stay alive until we get to land, and she can receive proper medical assistance. Thank you all for your attention. You did so well, Ranko! Thanks. That was harder than I expected.
Togawa, thank you for struggling so hard in figuring out what happened.
Lawrence and Jessica were good fellows, but I understand... Oh.
Lawrence and Jessica were good fellows, but I understand now that everybody can have a dark side on it.
No.
Lawrence was a pedophile and Jessica was very quick to murder. You should be sorry that they made you live with such an ordeal. I'm your homeroom teacher, but I wasn't able to help you through this at all. I hope you can forgive me.
Don't worry. We know you were occupied trying to keep order inside the train. It's us who have to thank you for letting us stage this dumb performance.
As for that piece of evidence you said,
Yeah, I'll have to wait a little since we have to do something important before. We can talk calmly about it later. You coming, Astrid? Yes!
okay, what's this? You're good girls.
What is this?
Crooked Truth. Read the epilogue. Okay.
Hi, girls. Hey, what a surprise. Sorry to be in your room. I just wanted to give my thanks for your efforts in unraveling the mystery. I let myself lose heart for all that happened and couldn't help you at all. You worked so hard investigating you did that to poor Irene. I feel so useless. Don't say that. These were difficult days for everyone, and we understand you weren't feeling well. It's a shame things ended up like this. Miss Marble doing something like that, I'd never see it coming. I wish Irene lasts through this one. Yeah, we'll have to wait a little to know, once we arrive to land. Well, I'll leave you alone now. See you later. And sorry again for intruding. Don't worry. We expected to find you here, actually. Did you find what you were looking for? Huh? What do you mean? Come, sit down here. It's better if you spare the acting.
Okay! Thank you, okay. Thank you, game. Oh, okay. Like, I wasn't upset that it wasn't Lena, because I could accept pretty much anybody being the killer, except for Marble, because that just wouldn't make sense to me at all. That would be bad. Okay, thank you. It was a trick. Thank God.
It was clear that we'd catch you here searching while we were out, since you were the one who killed Mr. Shepherd. I don't get it. I have nothing to do with Teacher's death. You just explained that Miss Marble was the actual killer. Yeah, look. That was just to calm down the others with a plausible account. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that you believed all that so easily. Didn't you give it a thought? You just have to go over the story to find that. It has more holes than Swiss cheese. I guess I should be happy that it worked so well. You say that Miss Marble wasn't the culprit then? With respect to those two last incidents, it was undoubtedly her work. She was the one who assaulted Irene and then killed herself because of her guilty feelings. The murder of Mr. Shepherd is a case apart. I told you that Miss Marble burst into the room just as he was about to assault Irene. And then she kicked our friend out and killed Teacher out of jealousy. But how could she do that? She supposedly stabbed him in that moment, blinded by rage. In that case, it makes no sense that she had a knife with her. It had to be something clearly premeditated. But also, with a temper like hers, I find it hard to think that she wouldn't take Irene out herself. To give her a good scolding for what she was supposedly doing. Marble had all of the time in the train to make amends with Shepherd. Even if she felt betrayed, she would never kill him out of spite. I'm sure those who knew her better had some doubts about that part. Then you say, it was me who killed him? But that doesn't make sense either. I had no reason to do so. I wasn't one of his victims. Your best friend was, though. I didn't even know that he was harassing students until you told us. Lena, we're friends. And as a friend, I'll say it again. There's no need for you to keep pretending. You know it all. I don't know what you're talking about. Astrid, bring that, please. Yes. Last night, I had a revelation. I thought hard, really hard, until I finally understood some things. The first one was that we were looking at the case in the wrong way. Up until then, I was sure that everything was the work of a single culprit. Even when Astrid pointed to the possibility that maybe it wasn't like that, I rejected the idea right away. After all, what were the chances that two murderers gathered at the same place to kill different people? Unless the second one came up as an after effect of what the first one did. Having missed that held us up tremendously with the investigation. The second thing I learned was that there was something missing on Shepherd's cabin. An item that was there when we first found his body, and that was not when we came back. Miss Marble took that item with her and had it kept in her room. I guess you had a hunch when you heard me say that we still had one more piece of evidence to check. That's why you came here while we were still out, to snatch it and make the only incriminatory clue disappear. It's this. It's this jacket. A jacket with Shepard's blood on it. But that one isn't mine. I'm wearing my own jacket. We all have spare clothes to use. Just have to check your baggage to find if you lack a jacket or not. Hey, don't touch that. That's my phone. But even if that weren't proof enough, we have further evidence pointing you as the culprit. Let me tell you again, now for real. The events that took place 2 days ago in Mr. Shepard's room. That afternoon, you went there while Irene was taking a shower. Your excuse was that you wanted to save some seats for us at the panel at 3 p.m. But nobody actually saw you there. At least, not until later. You came in and killed Shepard. You had it planned in advance. You took the knife during lunch when Mr. Brown tossed a card. Taking one from the table would stand out, but nobody would miss one of those that fell on the floor. Unfortunately, you didn't expect to get your jacket dirty with Shepard's blood. So you left it there hoping that no one could find its owner. Then you disposed of the weapon in a bin in the closest restroom to your cabin. Is that correct?
Ronco, I told you. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't even have a motive to kill him. Last night we talked with Madeline and Christine. We asked them about the girls Shepard had harassed so far. Among them was Margaret Hastings.
She was your older sister, right? She took her life 2 years ago, just before Shepard was transferred to St. Junction. Did you kill him because of this? You wished to take revenge since he led your sister to commit suicide?
Yes, that's right. Shepard assaulted her and spread some horrible rumors when he got bored of it being his toy. Madge couldn't go out without feeling the judgmental glances of everyone around her. That pressure she had to endure ended up breaking her inside. Every night she cried with anger and sourness, knowing she had to be silent about the harm that bastard did to her family and herself. In the end, Marge couldn't endure anymore and took her own life. She told me everything before her suicide. By then, Shepard was already in another school, trying to get away from any accusation against him. Although he always made sure that he had the silence of his victims.
I'm really sorry that Margaret had to live that sort of terrible experience. And your family, too.
But that's just a story of the past. It doesn't prove anything. That jacket could be from anyone. Maybe it's Katya's. She also had a more direct and reasonable motive to kill him. And maybe it's from some other freshman you don't know at all. If this was a premeditated murder, there's a chance that the culprit was even some other student that's not from my class. Maybe she just got one of those red jackets to mislead the police.
That was my first thought, too.
You're wrong about me. I didn't do anything.
Yesterday, we received some useful piece of advice. When you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. And that's what we did. Once we confirmed that the rest of the involved girls had nothing to do with the murder, what remains is that, as hard and sad as it may be, you're the one who we were looking for. I'll say it once more. Lying is useless. We know it all. This jacket can only be yours.
No, it's not. How can you be so sure? Why are you so determined to accuse me? Why?
Elena, I know it was you, and only you. Because we found this inside the pocket. This is the pin Astrid gave you when we got on the train.
I gave you the one of Bloomin' Mama because you're kind and nice like her. You all had a different one.
I told you, we know everything. There's no need to keep lying.
You have no idea. You know nothing at all. You don't know what I had to go through. You don't know what I did. You don't know why I did it. You don't know anything! Lena!
Okay. No. Alright. She ran out or she just... Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't want... Because of me, Irene and Miss Marvel...
It's fine. Cry all you need. You've been suffering for a long time. You've been enduring the anxiety of killing a person for days now. And on top of that, you had to see how your best friend got hurt. You must be worn out.
Lena, please forgive me. It's all my fault. None of this would have happened if I didn't kill Shepard. But I wasn't taking revenge.
I know. You must protect Irene, right?
Yes.
That morning, just before we arrived, you heard Shepard making an appointment with Irene to talk about the activities of your class. But you knew what he was scheming. That's why you went earlier, to face him and discourage him.
I knocked on the door and he was surprised at finding that it was not Irene. He invited me in. I didn't lose any time. I told him who I was and how much I hated him. I wasn't going to let him do the same thing to my friend that he did to my sister. But his answers froze me in horror.
Why you... Oh.
He said that he remembered Madge, that he had a hell of a time with her, that if I wanted him to leave Irene alone, then I could be her replacement. He moved closer, and that's when I showed the knife. I threatened him with attacking if he tried something. He laughed and told me to be careful, that he would be gentle with me. And then he jumped on me. When I was aware of what happened, it was too late already. Terrified, I leaned forward and stabbed him. He died almost immediately. His blood spurted over my jacket. I was scared. I left him over the bed and then I knew I had to flee right away. I took the knife and noticed that the blood would stand out, so I dropped the jacket and ran towards the restroom to dispose of the knife. The rest is just as you said. But then it wasn't on purpose. It was him who assaulted you. That's self-defense.
No, it's not that easy. She's the one who brought the knife and had a hostile attitude with him. Not to mention, she had reasons to kill him. We'll have to study this case closely to decide how guilty she is.
Then, you're going to turn me in?
That's without a doubt the hardest question I ever had to face in my life. And I thought a lot about it already. Promise. I hardly got any sleep thinking about this dilemma. You're my friend. I understand the circumstances you were in, and also that you didn't want any of the following tragedies. But at the same time, I've always been following a mantra to have a clear conscience. You're probably bored with it by now. Every act has a consequence. Anytime you do right or wrong, your acts always have an impact on other people. And the right thing is to take responsibility for those after effects. You killed a person, and that means you have to take responsibility for it, whatever the outcome.
Yeah, I guess you're right. This had to end like this. But you don't have to be alone on this. We will turn in with you. What? Uncle forgot to explain something important.
I didn't forget, I was waiting for the right time.
What do you mean? Look, we also killed someone. I don't understand. When we talked with Miss Marble about who could have murdered Mr. Shepard, we led her to Irene.
Okay, you're not gonna get arrested for that.
With all the commotion and the rumors floating around, she was fast on suspecting her when she found the jacket. But even so, it was just pure speculation. It was us who convinced her that Irene was the one who visited Mr. Shepard.
Stop trying to bite me, Flocka. Stop.
In the end, she was so sure that she was so sure about it, she sent a message to meet her in the restroom that night and strike her sneakily.
Stop trying to bite me.
And when we told her later that Irene had nothing to do with his death,
Stop!
and she understood how bad it was, a mistake, and she decided to commit suicide. So what you said before?
I told you to ignore that. It was all a fake story to make you lower your guard.
The thing is, it was us who pushed Miss Marble to act like that.
No. Marble committed murder on her own accord. Yeah, she did it because you gave her information, but you could know she would act like that. And you didn't instigate. You weren't
You wouldn't even be arrested for instigating it, because you had no idea that you weren't trying to get her to kill Irene.
Indirectly, our words led her to try murdering someone and then kill herself later. In that regard, we have to take responsibility too. But you can't take the blame for that. There's no way you could have known she would act like that.
Perhaps, but intentionally or not. The fact that our reckless attempt of investigation was the one that caused this ending. Had we stopped playing sleuth? Had we let things flow naturally, none of these events would have taken place.
I don't know. I fear Miss Marble would still try to kill Irene. I fear she would still assume Irene killed Shepard.
Our acts had their own consequences, and I want to take responsibility for them. When I explained it to Astrid last night, she agreed with me.
Come on, we'll talk with Mr. Brown. Don't worry, we'll be with you no matter what.
Yeah, no cop is going to arrest you.
Thank you.
We went to talk with Mr. Brown after that. We relayed to him the truth that took place aboard the submarine train. Lena's confrontation with Shepard, our unfortunate mistake, Miss Marble's misunderstanding. With a grave but calm face, he listened to our confession just minutes before the train arrived to land after 2 days of madness. Once we were out, the police began their own investigation, though there was nothing to do anymore by then. Despite our honest will to redeem ourselves, Astrid and me were forgiven from any type of responsibility.
Yeah, because, like, you didn't commit a crime.
Since the effects from our deeds were purely accidental, even when we took direct part in the case, so we couldn't be accounted guilty for any of that. As for Lena, she was sent back to the USA immediately to be in judicial custody. I'm gonna assume that means case? No, the cause is still open, but as far as I know... Okay, yeah, case. The case is still open, but as far as I know, the context of the murder will be taken as an attenuating circumstance in the trial. There was a big commotion among the students when the facts were finally disclosed. But fortunately, the relief at knowing that there was no more risk and the excitement of visiting a new place for them was enough so that they could enjoy the rest of the trip. A trip they would definitely remember for the rest of their lives. As for Irene... Murder of Shepard Lawrence. It seems those ladies found the truth they were looking for. David Heredia. Ah, is it not a Japanese game then?
That man's name is David.
I'm glad that, like this train, they also reached their destination.
I thought it was Japanese, because all of the wonky dialogue. I don't think this was originally English still, but it's a man named David.
Remember, there are lots of mysteries in this world. You're the ones to figure them out. Fran Val. Okay, I guess is... Okay.
It's not a Japanese game.
Where are you from? Where are you people from?
Kara from... what's it called? Undertale.
Grown-ups work to protect us and make a better future for us. But sometimes they don't act as they should. It's our duty to learn from their mistakes and keep struggling to fix what they've messed up. That will be our challenge when we get in on society. So our studies are so important. Still a good party every now and then. Never does anyone any harm. What? I'm not as stiff as everybody thinks. Maybe I should loosen up a little bit. I'll take note of that for the future.
Ruben Moliner, using Maestro for Future Sculptor. Hey. Sound effects. Zap Splat. Okay.
Watching those two solve the case was truly inspirational. I'll work hard to overcome my block and win in any match from now on. But even if I keep losing, I won't fall apart. When things go south, you just have to take a deep breath and persevere. Game, set, match.
Maiden Voyage was an utter disaster. There's no way that we can recover from this. Market the murder! We're just going to travel with the train that people were murdered in. And that's it! The submarine train of death! A thrilling experience underseas! Solve our mystery while trapped in this underwater trip.
I'll have to work a bit on that catchphrase, but let's leave that to marketing. We're not finished yet. I'm going to save this project. I regret what I did to Irene, like, a lot. Hurting other people is never the answer for anything. I learned from my mistakes. I'll never do that again. From now on, I'll work hard to follow their example and become a model person. I'll be proud of my actions. I don't want to regret what I did anymore. Also, that gorgeous senior left quite an impression on me. I think I'll have to tell her to learn from her, too.
Gay, 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 gay.
I'm glad we could use this incident to make a stronger bond. From now on, we'll care for each other even more and bully other people even more. Probably not. Hopefully not. I won't let you live something like that ever again, Katia. Thank you. I swear I'll be by your side too. Whatever you need. I'll support you whatever happens. We'll always be together. That's why we are the most fabulous.
I hate them.
I have to give my thanks to the little mouse and her friends. When Shepard died, I thought that our mission was over for good. But now I see that finishing what we began is more necessary than ever. Reporting the abuses of that bastard will help to raise awareness of the threats most women are exposed just for being female. We'll look the other way no more. It's time to face that problem, and I want to be at the forefront. The case revitalized my interest in murder mysteries. Maybe I should join the mystery club of Jiaochen? I still have to train a lot as a ninja, though. The crimson moon will shine brighter next time.
Thank you for traveling with us on our Marine Express. And please come back to enjoy again the underwater views if you ever have the chance.
But next time, please try to keep it a more peaceful journey. We like our passengers alive to take pleasure in the beauty of the ocean waters.
I'm sad I couldn't be up to my role as a teacher. I have to pull my socks up to help my students when they need it. Even so, I'm happy to know that I can trust in them. There are some fine ladies. From now on— Oops! Look what I've done.
Are we gonna get a scene with Irene? With Irene, Ronco, and Astrid? Side quest localization. Okay, so okay. English editing? So it's not— okay, I still don't think it was originally English. It also wasn't originally Japanese, I assume, or French. Because they're cutting in translators for Japanese and French. Irene! Hello, nice to see you. How you feeling? I'm feeling better, thank you. Doctor said that I'll be discharged soon. Fantastic. It looked pretty bad when they took you off the train. I'm fine, thanks to you. Should I have received first aid a little later, then maybe we couldn't be talking like this right now. I'm so glad I found you in time. I can't believe your love for restrooms was useful for once. Don't say it like that! Astrid was making the craziest face when I got there. She was crying in ocean with such a funny grimace. Like this. Stop it! There's no way to get both of you two around. I'm so happy to see you smiling again. We were so worried about you. It was a pretty intense trip. Now that it all came to an end, I hope everything can come back to normal again. Tell me, do you know anything about Lena? It's not a definitive sentence yet. Seems they're considering a couple years in juvenile detention center. It could have been worse, but this case ruffled some feathers and they took in consideration the circumstances. Also, Maddie and Christine presented their report about Shepard so that all the truth is known. And that info will be taken into account for the final trial. I hope it turns out well. Will you join me to see her when I leave the hospital? Of course! We'll go together! Thank you. I'm sorry that Lena had to carry such a heavy weight on her shoulders. She just tried to save me, and even so, she has to keep suffering. Life is so twisted sometimes. But don't worry. I'm sure things won't go as bad as they seem in the end. I hope so. I think it's time we go.
we'll come again before you'll be discharged. Take some rest and get well as soon as possible, okay?
Sure. Thanks for coming. Love you, girls. See you soon!
What a strange feeling. You lived 3 days of a nightmare in an underwater train, and now it's like nothing happened at all. It's hard to believe we went through that for real.
Now that we solved our first case, maybe it's time for us to become full-fledged detectives for real. We'll crack mysteries and find murderers with flashy deductions. The Bloomin' Girls will find the answer for any puzzle.
I'd rather leave murdered people for fiction, thank you. But you're free to keep having your wild delusions if you want. Don't mind me.
Come on, don't be a party pooper. I need you to be my trustworthy sidekick.
Why should I be the sidekick here? I did all the damn work. It's me who solved the case.
Yeah, but I pointed all the key points already. It's just that you never pay any attention to my wit. It's clear that I'm more observant than you.
Now you're getting cheeky. You're an absolute pain.
Look, some people gathered there. Maybe it's some kind of incident? Will this be your next case already? Let's go find out!
Hey, wait, don't run so fast! That darn greedy guts with long legs. Wait for me! Hope under the sun. The end. I pressed a button. Hey, I platinumed it. Let's fucking go! Oh, that was that. I liked it. It's a nice game. I am so glad that Ronco's denouement was a fucking lie. I would have, I wouldn't have liked the ending if Marble was actually the murderer. Thank God. I think that the next game I'm going to play will be another DS game. Still have terrible stick drift. See? I haven't been using the left stick, but yeah, it's terrible. Horrible. There. Anyways, yep, so we can't do Ultra Despair Girls yet until I get that fixed or get a new controller. So the next game is going to be a DS game. I want to try... probably a DS game, we'll see. But I want to try... what's it called? Room 215. Hotel Dusk, Room 215. I want to see if I can get it to, like, work properly, because it's set up weird. You have to... it's a DS game. You hold the DS like a book, but I'm playing on through an emulator, so I have to like change it around. I have to do editing for it. This is gonna be a pain in my ass, but we'll see. We'll try. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Bye bye.